Moving to order. Roll call. Larry Murphy here.
Ryan Madsen here.
Cody Bjornson here.
Staff Representative Brett Gagnon Pollock here.
He's absent. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. Anything to add? No.
Sure.
Approval of the minutes. Attached. Get a chance to look over them.
I'll try and get the information out a little sooner next time. I
Yeah.
It's,
I got a call from one person. You can't have a meeting because I didn't get a notice. It's like, really? I said, I'll check.
well, we made a good faith effort.
Yeah.
The meeting's legal. It's just been a busy week. It's just
Oh, no big deal. I guess I wasn't too concerned about it. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes, I guess we kind of talked about that already. Any additions or corrections?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. New business. Housing permit corner lot discussion.
Right, so obviously I put a hand sketch in front of you right now, gentlemen, and you'll look at the western side here. It doesn't have the distance from the edge of the house to the property line. And because it's a corner lot, our ordinance is very clear that it's 20 feet. I talked to this individual, and he essentially made his house a little longer and a little skinnier to meet that 20-foot setback. I just think, those corner lots, it's real clear.
So the 20 foot is on this side?
Yes,
So he did make 20 feet then?
he did. He just emailed me the plans like maybe an hour ago.
So this is new construction then?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the issue with those corners. You gotta be 20 feet on both the front and the side when you live on a corner.
Yeah.
Luckily, he has no problem with it.
No, and his brother owns the adjacent parcel, and they have their 20 feet, so 10 on each side. It's good to go now. I just wanted to highlight this is I don't encounter these that much, and it's good for awareness.
Is his brother building too on the other lot?
Yes, he is.
That's good. Good
Did
to
he
know.
put in a permit too?
Yeah, they did right at the same time.
Who's building that?
The Hillstroms.
Houston,
Oh, which Hillstrom?
with Zach is one of them.
Zach and Alex.
Oh, okay, that's my wife's cousin.
Yeah, so that'll be two new ones, and then Madsen's gonna build 4.
We'll start including the roll up, and we'll just talk this at the end.
Okay. Okay, anything else on the corner lot thing?
No, sir.
Okay. Public hearing information and recommendations.
Right, we kind of had a little bit of a discussion about maybe the public hearings moving to the city council. And coincidentally enough, or serendipitously, I attended a land use seminar with a lawyer presenting, and he really emphasized you want your public hearings at the planning commission. For the main reason, where if you look at the second paragraph, if you don't mind, I'll just read it.
Okay,
Additionally, conducting hearings at the planning commission level provides a structured process with a clear path for appeals, enhancing transparency and fairness. While Minnesota statute 462.357 subdivision 3 allows the city council as a governing body to hold public hearing, most cities opt for the planning commission because it serves as an initial specialized review stage, allowing the city council to act as an appellate body if a dispute arises. This two-tiered system ensures that decisions are thoroughly vetted at the planning level before reaching the city council for final approval, reducing the likelihood of immediate escalation to district courts and fostering a more collaborative decision-making process. And that statement hits it on the head. If the city council is hearing or the recipient of the public hearing, and there is a dispute, it immediately goes to the county, to the district court. And that really takes a lot of leverage out of the city to just solve the problem.
Makes sense.
so basically, we're gonna kind of continue as we've been doing and,
Yes, yeah, I just really, because I really kind of dug into this just to see
yeah,
why. And this summarizes it, I think, real well.
okay, any other discussion on that? Old business, got nothing? Look over your,
Yes, you can see, we haven't had anything, for the year, but now, it's starting to pick up quite a bit, and this is the run and tally so far. If there's another metric that you want to see, let me know. I'll get it included and start collecting it.
When they apply for these permits, we're not asking them anything other than they have plans and they're building. We're not asking if they're building a rental unit or a duplex or
No,
anything like that.
no, I suppose we can.
I was wondering if it wouldn't be good information to have just for
over you.
our planning, we kind of know how many housing units we're getting. If they're building duplexes on all these, we're getting 12 instead of 6.
Right, yeah,
This kind of gives us something a little more information to go by. It wouldn't hurt. 'Cause they submit a plan, don't they?
They do.
So then we could, kind of have a little more information on it.
yeah, that might be good, a good point, yeah.
See people
Yeah,
starting to.
nice to see some things happening.
And if there's other information you want me to start including for the meetings, please let me know. I know we kind of touched a little bit on the cannabis ordinance. We passed it forward. I think that's going to be on the agenda for just the final final say so before that will start the timeline to move to public hearing as well and get that finished up.
As we did discuss it at one of the council meetings after we talked about it here, but we didn't actually say.
No, there was no motion. No, it was, yeah. I'll include an action memorandum for it to, formally move it. Yes.
Did that watershed thing over by our area over there, did that all get, when the survey and everything was done and good, right?
Yeah, that's actually on our new map, our new zoning map.
Yeah.
Okay,
It basically changed it to 250 feet from the lake instead of 5, kind of.
It's almost by location because a lot of those areas to the north there, they all have storm drains, right? So
yeah,
their impenetrable surface doesn't matter nearly as much as if you live on the lake.
Basically, if it won't drain into the lake, it's not really shoreline.
effect, yeah,
That's kind of what they went by.
So that took you out then?
Yeah, well,
And because of the soil as well,
Yeah.
I'd have to look at it again, but I'm fairly certain that impenetrable surface, even along the lake, went up to 30%. Where, I know we were doing 30% last time, but I mean, it's officially 30% now, and that's just fine.
One of the joys of sand.
yeah,
Well, and that was something that it was kind of a thorn in a lot of people's side. They had lots in that 1,000-foot zone. It was impossible for the water to get to the lake. You'd have to
Right,
pump it
yeah.
over a road to get there.
Yeah,
So it didn't make sense. So it makes much more sense now.
yeah.
yeah.
It's a good thing to get cleaned up.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
We adjourn at 5:10?
I think so. I will, okay, yeah, actually, we can kind of talk, a little bit next month, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the plan is to, try to host some of the developers in the area here. And, we're gonna bring in the city engineer, Chris Thorson. And we wanna have a little period of time, of just fielding some questions and answers. As we were kind of talking off script, we had him give us some price estimates to put in utilities in a couple areas in the city. And so we have a kind of a baseline, of how much it's going to cost. And, based on that, I think, having Chris here to kind of give the city's perspective about, hey, I'm a developer. This is what I want to do. We can kind of give them a real clear snapshot right away of, what's feasible, what's not. Yeah,
Will it be kind of like a public meeting then, or just for us, or?
Well, it'll be us, and we're gonna invite a bunch of these developers and have Chris here,
okay.
because I guess the idea, my thought on it was, we don't know what's keeping them from building. Is it the infrastructure cost? Is it, what is it?
Yeah.
What's holding you back? And I just want to get more of that information so we can, is there anything the city can do to make it easier
Right, or
and still be in
encourage, yeah.
compliance, but make something a little easier to get things going? Or, maybe they just don't they don't realize that it's not as hard as they think it is.
No,
Or maybe the assessment will be way less than they think it would have been. And Chris will be able to answer that ballpark wise.
yeah,
If you have a 50-foot lot on this road, it's approximately this much. Give them some ideas, and
Right,
maybe
yeah.
it'll spur a little more development.
There's never any grant money anymore for doing sewer and water projects.
I mean, so our sewer, yeah, that's going to be taken care of, but anything, well, not for adding, for replacing,
Yeah, for
no.
yes, there's sewer funding available, but not for water.
I thought it was the other way around. When we were talking to Chris, I think Chris said it was the other way around, because of our soil here being sand. We don't get the sewer dollars, but we get the water dollars,
Oh,
because we don't have anything penetrating into our pipes with the sand or whatever.
yeah,
I think that's what it was.
yeah,
But there again, he'll be at that next meeting. He could answer that too.
Yeah,
But I thought that's what he said when we were talking about these projects that we have on the books to do.
yeah,
There was money for the water,
but not the
or
sewer.
not the sewer.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm pretty,
it's one or the other.
Cause weren't that one time they were thinking about adding on to the MDC out there?
they still are. And that's another, we're gonna invite them to this meeting. And I did talk with, Justin Day over at the bank. He's on that. He's still on that MDC. And they've had several different plans for that property, depending on this, that, and the other. And they've worked with the Lestadian Church. They might be able to trade off some property to make a loop through there so they could get a section developed.
Yeah.
So there's some things that could work, but it has to be good for the city on our end too.
yeah,
We can't put in $2 million worth of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then wait for them to sell a lot.
yeah,
If we're gonna run a project, then the assessments will have to start.
Yeah.
They would have to
Yeah.
have some skin in the game and say, all right, we better get some lots sold before we even do this,
Yeah.
do some preliminary sales. And that's part of the object of that next meeting is
Well,
to,
is that lotted out already out there?
they have plans, but it's not surveyed out now. they've just had several different drawings on different ways they could do it, and my thought was, well, can you start with a section? You know, can you do it in a phase or something?
Yeah.
Sell off a phase and get your money back, and then, you know,
The
Yeah.
mobilization for contractors is
yeah.
a big item when they're moving in all the equipment.
Yeah.
Like Justin said too, he said, well, and maybe we do dirt streets, we don't pave them. It's a lot, the assessment's a lot less.
Yeah.
You don't have the paving and curb and gutter and all that in.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's different ideas on how it could be more feasible for them and less costly to the city. But it has to be where we can assess it and start getting that money back. I mean, we can't be giving away infrastructure, and
Yeah.
just what's good for the city, and if we can expand our tax base, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
All of our taxes can stay a little lower if we
I'm
have.
just surprised that all those Limita lots, you know, on the Happy Hour Road, that nobody's building over there, or
And I have talked to them to see if they're interested in selling, and they're just kind of sitting on
I
that.
mean, your sewer and water stepped out to all those lots.
Yeah. Yeah. There's,
I was the one that did it.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. I do a lot of walking around town. There's a lot of lots that are empty in this town.
Yeah.
And there's people that live in Florida and Washington and wherever that own them, and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
are they ever gonna do anything with them, or is it something where a developer might want to get a hold of these people and say, hey, I'd like to buy that lot?
Yeah.
The infrastructure's already there. Assessments have already been paid on them, I'm sure, on most of those.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different possibilities, and maybe some of these developers just need to know that too. That there's a lot of stuff that could be available if you start working some angles and
Yeah.
throw enough stuff at the wall, something's gonna stick.
I was kind of wondering how the assessments were on those Limita lots. Are they, was the deal that they didn't have to pay the assessments until they sold them?
That's generally how it works, and that's what we can't do anymore,
Yeah.
because then the city's on the hook for that
Yeah.
forever, and if the lots never sell,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not even.
They're not encouraged to sell them either.
we never get it back.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that's something that we probably need to do if we're going to do an infrastructure project.
I don't understand what her thinking is, why she doesn't sell those.
I don't know how many lots was there. I thought that was still just one big chunk.
No, there's at least 4 lots in there.
Mhm.
Yeah. She sold the
Yeah.
house, and then I think there's at least 4 lots there. And sewer and water to all of them. Well, why don't you sell them? She's never gonna do nothing with them.
No, they're not. I can have another conversation with them too.
Now's the time to sell,
Yeah.
if any time.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few lots, I think, of vacant on Blueberry too, you know, back.
I wondered
Well,
how that,
so I know somebody that owns 2 of those, 2 different people that own 2 of them. And that's one of the projects that we had Chris estimate, because we had it all figured out for when it should have happened years ago, when we did First Street. And then we didn't do Blueberry, we didn't do Oak. So he already had that
Yeah.
figured out for dollars back then, and we had to convert it to today's dollars. Because 2 of the bigger lots, the idea was that if they can split them, they could put 4 units on there instead of 2.
No.
So then it's just a matter of, well, what's the assessment gonna be, and,
you know.
you know, are you willing?
Well, if she sells one of those lots, then does she have to pay the assessments on all of them? Or is it just the one you sell?
We'd have to look back on what the agreement was at that
That's what I'm
time.
kind of wondering. Maybe that's why she doesn't want to sell them, because she'd have to pay the assessments on all of them, you know, then I don't know how that works, but.
That's something I think that's something we need to make as a policy going forward, is if we put in utilities at a certain point, whether you sell the lot or not, you gotta start paying those assessments off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta start coming back.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Because the city can't be expected to sit on
Yeah.
possibilities for 100 years.
I mean, why would we? I mean, come on, we're a service, not a landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why she wouldn't want to sell those and get her money out of it.
And even if we were to run, like, if we did that Blueberry Road back there, that addition, we can still have some grace in it and say, you know, you pay the assessment, but you don't have to hook up to water yet. You know,
Yeah.
5 years from
Yeah.
now or something, we can pick a number and say, well, maybe in 5 years, whether you start using the water or not, you're gonna have to start paying the minimum fee.
Yeah,
When your septic system needs to be replaced, you must hook up to sewer,
yeah,
you know, things like
Yeah.
that. Give them a little bit of a break at least,
I think
so,
it's completely fair.
you know,
Yeah.
just to,
Yeah.
so that they're not hit all at once with, well, I've gotta do this and I've gotta do that.
Yeah.
So but that's one of the things I wanna get from Chris too, is what was the cost in whatever year that was when we should have done that? And then what's the cost today?
Yeah.
It's probably twice as much as it was.
yeah, because
Yeah.
the last time I was working in Menahga here, when we were tarring the roads there, they weren't even gonna do the rest of that happy hour road. And they weren't gonna do the end one there and then the next one coming back. It wasn't even on the project and they had such a great tar price that I
Yeah.
talked to Shar and everybody down there and I said, hey, this is the time to get this done.
Yeah.
So I had to go around at every house and get, would you be in favor of this, you know? And everybody's sick of having dust in their house, so yes, every one of them wanted it.
I'm getting sick of tracking sand in my garage.
Yeah,
That's another thing that Chris would have information on is if we put in the utilities and leave it a dirt road, what's the difference? How much is the difference in the assessment to
Yeah.
go ahead and pave it, you know,
Yeah.
while we're there?
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
might just jump on it and say, well, yeah, for that much, it's well worth it.
yeah.
I know I'd much rather live on a tar paved road.
Oh,
I'd sooner have the paved road than the utilities, I guess, for
well,
for myself.
when I bought my house there, it was gravel yet
Mhm.
and couldn't have the windows open because that's a main thorough, you know, Juniper is a main thing for the trucks going. And it was so dusty all the time that
It was worth it to have it paved.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's some of the thoughts behind having this whole meeting with these guys too, is it's
Yeah.
get some information out to the public and maybe we'll get a whole bunch of building permits going. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Nothing more from Brad Carlson about building out there.
All that,
Yeah, in Crandall's.
and also they sold that off. The 34 acres, they kept 6 acres at the
Oh.
Crandall homestead there. They
Oh.
kept the 6 acres and they sold the 34 off. And we had approved for the guy to put the driveway in off of Fifth,
Yeah,
going off the end there.
yeah.
At this point,
Wasn't Brad Carlson gonna build a house in there?
yeah, I don't know.
I thought that's what I heard. But
He'd have to build on that 6 acres at
yeah,
this point. Whoever bought that 34 is building back there at the old pickle field, where that old pickle field was back
yeah,
there.
yeah.
He's gonna build there. That'll be coming up this summer, I imagine too.
Yep.
We are getting some growth.
That's gonna be like one house on a 34 acre.
Yep, and we granted him that driveway easement off the end of
Right,
Fifth,
yeah.
as long as it's just the one house.
Temporary. That's
Right,
You know.
yeah.
That's temporary though, right?
It can
Can they-
stay as long as there's only one house back there. If they start developing, then that changes. You can't just have a driveway going back to the
Yeah, as soon as it transitions from driveway to street,
No.
like
whole
that's,
different.
yeah.
Whole different thing then. But we were able to work the driveway in where they didn't have to take out any of those big trees. It
Yeah.
worked out.
Anything else?
I think so.
Would be good.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Oh, second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Meeting adjourned, 5:24.
And the next meeting is on the first Thursday again, right?
Yes, first Thursday, that'll be May 1st, 5 PM. And thank you to our viewers, and there are no viewers today. We are
Nice.
signing off.
The good part is they can go click on this anytime they want and watch it.
Yeah.